This is my 140,000 mile Jaguar XFR.
It's got a 585 horsepower supercharged V8, but that's not enough. So today's mission is more power.
So I've got over 2,000 pounds in mods to send this car over 600 horsepower. We set out to buy V8s for 10% of the value of a brand new Mustang. This supercharged Jag felt like a bargain, but today things are about to go horribly wrong. Right, first up, I want to get straight into the power mods, the supercharger mods. First order, strip down.
And then we'll get the engine.
We'll get the engine.
Nice, very nice. We started by removing the engine covers and the factory intakes, as we planned on upgrading them later. This gave us the space we needed to explain exactly why we wanted to upgrade the supercharger pulleys.
So this pulley here, this is the upper supercharger pulley. If you've ever heard someone say, if you put the aircon on, you're losing power, the same thing applies to the supercharger. It takes power away because it's literally using power from the crankshaft, but what it gives you is a fair bit more. We're going to put a smaller pulley on here. So as you can see, that is a fair bit smaller than the one that's already on there. But why does that make a difference? A smaller supercharger pulley is like switching to a smaller bike gear. Your legs, the engine, spin the pedals, the pulley faster, making the wheel, the supercharger, rotate quicker, forcing more air into the engine and making more power. We need to get the belt off, take the pulleys off, and then put the new bits on. All of that sounds much easier than it actually is.
And the first job will be to remove the old belt, starting by loosening the tensioners.
Any belt in a car should be under a tension, otherwise your belt's just going to fly off. If you don't do your belt up, your trousers are going to fall down. And in car terms, your trousers falling down, things get much worse. So we have tensioners, there's one here, we've also got another one down here. They've got little slots on them that you need to lever on, and then you can pull the belt off.
The tensioners are incredibly tight, so Will had to use every bit of leverage he could find to loosen them, while I removed the belt.
We were just talking about tension and what such. So we're putting a smaller pulley on, which means that this original belt won't fit. So we've got this smaller belt, which we have to fit, otherwise obviously that belt is going to... So the old belt would need to come out, which wasn't proving to be easy. What I'm going to do is just get this guy out of here. We're just going to take this, we're just going to get this, just going to take it off. All we're going to do is just take that off. You just have to take this off. Anyone know anything? Then you just take it off, and then the belt comes off, and then you just have to take this off and then put things on. There he comes. So you just take the belt off, and there we go. So I'd say this one is this much.
Right, I like that.
And this one, it's about
That's
that
way
much.
bigger. That's
so
much bigger.
Literally, I wouldn't even bother with that one. Silly belt. With the old belt removed, I had something to admit. These Jag engines, particularly these very early ones, they have an issue. The timing chains, they stretch and they fail. That's what keeps everything in time. It's what's keeping the crankshaft and the cams going. Everything good down there? It's all good up here, mate. We're all good. In the middle of that, the chain goes.
And what you're left with is what, a 10 grand paperweight?
I will admit that this has been making it sounds a bit like a diesel, but there is another problem that can cause a rattle from in here that isn't engine blowy up stations, and it's related to the supercharger. So in here, along this snout here, which we'll reveal later on, is your supercharger coupler. Now this pulley should have zero play in it, and I've just found this.
That's quite a bit of play.
One supercharger snout. Now this is the coupler. It goes, I don't know, there is a particular way this goes, but this is the thing that causes the... This is the thing that causes the issues. Basically, this wears down over time, gets a load of play in it, and makes that noise. We should just be going... Although we do need to replace this pulley for more power, it's in here that we need to replace. And that is about here. And unfortunately, there are bolts here, all along the bottom, underneath this coupler, that you cannot get to unless you lift the supercharger. But we need to figure out how you do that. But it's better than an engine.
This looks tough to see.
I would call it quite tight in here.
I would call that too. With access tight, we got to work removing the top of the supercharger by taking out the bolts securing the charge coolers. We then drained the Jag's coolant system to avoid getting drenched when removing any of the supercharger's coolant pipes.
Annoyingly, getting to the radiator drain plug meant removing the under tray, which refused to come off. So we had to get a little bit creative. Oh, that's aimed at me. No, it's coming out. Oh! This is interesting, isn't it?
This is an interesting way. Oh, okay.
I'm going to need...
That's interesting, Will. What
I'm going to do, could you just aim him there?
Oh!
That's the screwdriver. You know what? Why am I doing this and not just moving the tray to where the thing automatically puts it?
That's a great point. With us bored waiting for the coolant to drain, I decided to clean up the mess we'd made and ended up giving Will a wash as well.
Could you just get that?
Well and shoe.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Oh, not my ankle if possible. Great. Ooh. Oh, for f***'s sake. Do you want some, Ben?
Thank you.
Once the coolant was drained, I continued disconnecting pipes and prepping the supercharger for removal, while Edwin focused on some crucial maintenance work.
Right, while Will is taking apart the supercharger up front, I thought I'd help him with something he needs at the rear. The brakes on the rear, quite a big lip, and also, that's not much meat. So, what we've got is Blueprint brakes sent over by the guys at Febby-Bilstein/Blueprint. As always, any OE matching quality parts. They're the guys that have it, and they kindly sent them out. These cars are newer than the sort of cars that we tend to work on, so there is a difference when we're doing the brakes, especially on the rear. I'll explain. Here we have our new diagnostic kind of type tool, which will do diagnostics on basically everything. And the reason that I need this and I have to connect to the car is because the rear parking brake has a cable that comes off that, just like you'd imagine in your car, you pull your handbrake up and it pulls a cable. This has the exact same thing with a physical cable, except it is electronically operated. That cable just goes into a little electronic box. When you press the button to put the handbrake up, that thing goes and pulls it up. So we have to go in here, tell the computer to tell the car, go into service mode, relax yourself, don't get all upset, because if we're halfway through and then the car just decides, put the handbrake on for some reason, it's not going to help us. So I released the handbrake electronically and then got to work on the rear brakes. Oh! Old brakes removed, I made a worrying discovery. Here is the front of your brake pad. It should have meat on it. 0 meats. Now what would be happening if you have front pads, so your front wheels haven't been spinning, but your rear wheels have been spinning and you've been on the brakes? What would that be called?
While Edwin was busy installing the new discs and pads, I had been making great progress in the engine bay, carefully removing some almost rounded bolts holding the throttle body in place.
Oh, it was going. Oh, he's done it!
That's a big morale booster.
That's huge.
Camp TDC has been hit with a huge morale booster.
20 points to Gryffindor for that one. That's huge. Bro's literally looking Slytherin right now.
I'm about to slither in your bed, Ben.
And with that, it was finally time to remove the top end of the supercharger. A big moment. Will, you've been going on this for now 2 hours by yourself?
Days. After hours and hours of work and after some very tight manoeuvring, we finally got the top end off.
Why?
There we go. This is the charge coolers. So the coolant, which was in these 2 ports here, comes in here and obviously through these fins. Gives you nice cold air, we hope. But that has now given us access to the bolts to loosen the supercharger. So that's the next job.
With the charge coolers removed, we could see the inner workings of our supercharger. Your crankshaft, when it's running, is spinning. The belt then spins this at the same time, which, as you can see in here, the air comes in from the top here into this space. And then as it closes, you can see there, that space gets smaller and smaller into there. And as those blades come together, it squishes that air inside, just like a turbo does. It compresses air, and compressed air is more dense. You can make more power with it, because you can fit more of it in the cylinder. That's what makes the power. And what makes the whine is the 2 blades spinning, meshing in with each other, going, this is scary.
Scary, really
cool.
Scary. Feeling like I was in over my head, I removed the bolts holding the supercharger in place, and the worry started to set in. What I really don't want to do is drop anything down there, because then the noise will turn into... Just minutes later, though, that nightmare almost became a reality.
A single ball bearing here.
Waiting to destroy an engine.
Just teasing. He's loose as well, so Mission Impossible RN.
With that nerve-wracking moment behind us, we were finally able to access the supercharger snout's bolts. As you can kind of see already, we've lifted the supercharger up, tilted it slightly, and that means we can now get to these bolts. And if you're wondering why we have gone through all of this rather than just undoing those, with the supercharger fitted, you can't see these bolts, you can't even get to them. So we have to lift it up, undo those, pull it off, new guy on, progress is being made.
Frustratingly, the bolts were still too tight to access easily, so the next morning, we decided to remove the entire supercharger to get to them.
A supercharger?
Congratulations, it's a boy.
It is a supercharger. Gonna take off the snout on there now, which I've heard is also a ball ache, then service it, and then put it back together.
Do you want to know something that's quite worrying? We have to do the very same thing on the Mac.
Nah, well, I'm actually off that day.
With the supercharger out, I removed the remaining bolts, but one persisted.
So I have removed most of the bolts. This isn't going back in the car, surely. But there's one final bolt here that I never quite spotted. I could get in there with a spanner, but he's not going to come out far enough. These sort of inlet manifolds, if you like, here are actually bolted on, so I'm now going to have to take those off as well.
So that's what I did, and after all of that, I was finally able to remove the old snout from the supercharger, which ended up being another massive pain.
There we go.
And there it is.
So I did say earlier, because we have that much play, it chews up that. So those grooved bits there, they shouldn't look like that. What it should look like that. Perfectly smooth. This here is what's failed. This is the coupler. We'll get the old coupler out, new snout on, supercharger back together, supercharger back in, pulleys on, remap, 650 horsepower. Easy as that.
Bang. Next up, we removed the pulley from the new snout, preparing to replace it with our smaller, upgraded one. But then, we ran into a major issue.
I ordered this from the land of China. A Chinese brand has sent me this. I thought all was going quite well. Pulled the pulley off to put my new uprated one on. Now, you have to heat the living daylights out of this, essentially until it's glowing red, just to get it on here. So you expand this, you get it on, then you cool it down, and then it's basically stuck on there until you use another puller to get it off. This one,
That's weird.
now you might think that's good, but there's nothing here to hold that in place. This is an original Jaguar part, doesn't go on, and that's a good thing. That would mean we'd have to heat up this pulley, it expands, we put it on, cool it down, we're all good. I didn't think I could reuse this, but I have just spoken to possibly the smuggest man, Tom Lenthall. I didn't tell him anything about this car. I didn't want to. I wanted us to do this. And he said, what did you call me for? What did you not do that for? And now I wish I had. I was basically worried about this bit here. He said, it looks bad, but it's not the end of the world, because all that does is locate this coupler. So that means I can reuse this because these three prongs are all good. He said to me, I was going to let you f yourself up, but I'm going to give you some advice. And that is because when you put this pulley on, but I'll demonstrate on this one, you may hear it making contact, and then you'll have to take the pulley off, which is another ball ache. So sometimes you have to grind away something here. So I'm going to go to Tom Lenthall's now.
Cut to Tom Lenthall being smug.
Hi.
I thought you fixed the suspension.
I knew it!
From over there, I was like, what's that?
I'm going this speed bump tactically so he doesn't hear my suspension.
Really, yeah.
I was rather hoping you wouldn't hear that. It's the least of my worries right
Is it
now.
really? Okay.
Would you like to see my pulley, my snout?
Yeah, would I like to see your worst? I would love to see your snout. Yeah.
Okay, I'll pull up and get it out
Yeah,
for you.
come on then, pull up.
So that's the Chinese one.
Yeah.
This is the one I thought was buggered, but you're saying potentially not.
No, that's fine. I have had it where these have worn away and started breaking up, and that is a problem because then obviously you lose your ability to drive the damper. But those marks there, that's no big deal.
But you said I might have a problem with this.
This one is one of the ones that's probably going to be alright, but we'll stick the tester on it anyway. So this is our test one because it's got test written on it.
That makes sense actually.
Yeah. So you're alright. So what are you going to heat that up with?
A fire, probably. Am I going to be there a while with the blowtorch?
You are going to be there a while, yeah. Do you want me to go and get my oxyacetylene?
Oh, go on, why not? While we're here, I mean, why not?
Oh, go on then.
So Tom kindly got out his oxyacetylene blowtorch, which would heat the pulley up to a glowing red much faster than we could manage with a standard blowtorch.
The trick of it is not to get too much heat build up in one place and just gently warm the whole surface of the inner part of the pulley, and then the heat will just transfer through to the front.
That's what you were going to do, right?
Oh, was it? Absolutely, yeah.
After just a few minutes, the pulley was glowing red hot. Tom then quickly secured it onto the supercharger snout, cooled it down, ensuring a solid seal.
Well, thank you very much, Tom.
That's all right.
Again, I can't believe I've had to come here and take this abuse, essentially. It was going to happen.
I did know as soon as I saw that XFR, thought it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time.
I was confident it wasn't going to happen, but yeah.
Back at the unit, we got to work cleaning up the supercharger, prepping it to go back into the engine bay and be bolted back into place.
This all looks like a mess. The engine bay looks like a mess, but this car is not a mess because I did a car vertical check before buying this car. Unfortunately, this XFR came back with green ticks for mileage, finance, and damage.
And that's super helpful to know, because every day hundreds of cars are crashed, and some of them get repaired and put back on the road in an attempt to hide their dodgy history. But with a Car Vertical report, you can find out their shady past.
Right, that is the old Supercharger snout. New coupler is in there, which was our actual issue. New pulley is on, and there's some play, but that's normal. Before, we had maybe 2 or 3 times that amount of play. I've also changed the oil in the Supercharger as well. There's not much in a Supercharger, literally that much.
With the Supercharger now freshly serviced, we got on with the complicated job of putting it back together again. But what isn't complicated at all is running a Car Vertical report, because by simply entering a car's VIN or reg number, you can find out if that car has been crashed, stolen, or clocked.
Now this thing here is what was causing us a load of issues getting this off, because everything you can see here is great, and then all this is tucked right up the back of the engine bay. This is called a composer.
You got a composer in the back?
I've got a little composer in the back. All this does is pump noise into the cabin, but it has to go back on, otherwise you'll have a catastrophic boost leak. It is really, really annoying, because look at all this bulk just for a little bit of apparent noise in the cabin. Some old tech for you.
But as an example of some new tech, we've got a Car Vertical report that shows us what you'll see if you come across a dodgy car.
Now, compared to my Jaguar, this Porsche Cayman hasn't been so lucky, because we've got a yellow mark for damage. The dash airbag has gone off. This could be a pricey repair. Some people may try and fix this car, put it up for sale, completely immaculate, but not tell you about its crashed history. But with the Car Vertical report and the VIN or the registration, you can find out this shady past.
With it reassembled, I bolted down the Supercharger back in the engine bay.
So the next time that any of you are buying a car, van or motorbike, make sure that you're on a Car Vertical check to make sure that the price you pay for it matches its history.
And as an added bonus, Car Vertical are offering you guys 20% off when you use our code TDC. Right, let's get this thing
Supercharging.
on and charging, please. Morning. So we're just going to put everything back together, except we're not, because I've made an error. You may recall me confidently saying earlier on that this amount of play is perfectly fine. There's some play, but that's normal. I said it was fine. In the back of my head, I was worrying. I hit up Google, I hit up YouTube, I hit up the forums, and it turns out I've done something wrong. Where the Supercharger snout is meant to go in this hole here, between that spring and where you can see that sort of indent is. I put it that side, and that means... Now, I do actually think that's how it was in before, so I think someone has done it wrong before. Not that that makes my mistake any better, but how it's actually meant to go is in the correct way, which is like that. None. So that means that needs to come back out again.
So I went through the dreaded process of disconnecting the snout again, this time installing the new coupler correctly. I then cleaned the mating surface again, applied the silicone sealant again, and then installed the Supercharger again.
That is the kind of silence I'm after. Time to get putting it back together, and then we can get to some actual mods.
Thankfully, after days of work, I was finally able to get the Jag's engine bay back together, reconnecting all the sensors, lines and pipes. It was all coming together, though I did have a confession to make about our other upgraded pulley.
I spoke to Tom Lenthall. We don't think we're going to get much more gains out of this for how much trouble it is to get that crank pulley off. So this, £500, £600 worth.
With that decision made, we installed the new belt, and then I made videographer Ben refill the Jag's coolant. But that's when we discovered we'd forgotten to do something quite important.
Did you close the plug?
No.
Oh, God.
What made things worse was that I couldn't find the coolant plug.
Sir, your stop... What are these called? Pet cock? Stop cock?
I would say pet cock. Stop cock could work.
Radiator sealed again, Ben topped up the Jag with coolant, and then it was time for a very exciting mod.
There aren't many intake choices for these cars. People who own Jags, they're not really modifying them. But I don't care. This is going to make you whiny yom noises. He will go on there like that, and we'll have filters here, and they will be open, and they will be noisy. We're going to use these original lower filter housings, because for air and what such, and then these are going to sit in here, just like this.
Oh, that's nice. Straight in.
So we installed this slightly overkill induction kit, hoping it would give us a ton more induction noise, and that we'd be able to finally hear some proper Supercharger whine.
So now, I'm going to go for a start up, just to check it's all as it should be.
More importantly, to hear the noise.
We want to hear the noise.
That's why we're doing it.
You want to hear that?
Are we ready?
Right, yeah, I think we're good. It's running. You can hear the beginning of it.
That's ridiculous!
Oh, English Hellcat in town!
This sounds like it has 1,000 horsepower. This sounds ridiculous. Also, Will, your noise completely gone.
So it had that rattle before, but obviously that pulley being loose is what was making that noise. So now it sounds pretty good. That sounds ridiculous.
The final thing we wanted to do with the Jag before the dyno was a quick oil service, which after everything we tackled in this video, you'd think we'd find pretty easy.
Are you on aim?
I'm on aiming duties. Here we go. This is gonna be a clean pull. No, it's
That's
not.
And then the trick here is to keep moving with the oil. Oil drained, we called in Ben once again to help finish the service. Right, Ben is now chief oil changer.
Yes, Chief Service Officer.
Oh, you're gonna do that? I wouldn't do that.
Why?
Oh yeah, I mean, look.
Oh, I thought you'd be serious.
Look at what you've done this before.
Look at this grip on that thing.
Ow!
You know what, Ben? Do you want to be the first person to actually talk an oil filter?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sir. 25 Newton meters. You know what? I've never seen anyone do this. There you go, Ben. Look, sorry. Hold on. Ben, stop. No, Ben, just stop there. So what's going on?
I don't understand!
Ben's winding it up.
Can we just explain what you're doing? You're going... What's going on?
Listen, it's not... I don't know.
Now go for it. Now give it a little bit. Okay, there you go. Oh, there you go. You felt him.
That was it? That didn't feel tight enough for me.
Great pour. Great pour. There we go. Digital oil level. All good. We're in the clear, boys.
The final step before hitting the dyno was a quick spin in the Jag to make sure that everything was running smoothly and to finally hear that louder supercharger whine in action. It was a team effort putting the car back together, so Ben's in the car with us.
Hell yeah.
There you go. Okay. That's 5-10 times better. That's way better.
There was nothing before, and now we have noise.
That does feel quicker. The instant torque, that's quick.
At this point, we were loving the Jag. The countless hours of work felt like they had finally paid off. We dropped Ben off to get some exterior shots of the car, and that is where it all went horribly wrong.
Do you want to pull up by Ben and do a launch?
Why not?
No! Having seen it suddenly stop, Ben ran over to find us with a very unhappy Jag. You can give it a little bit of throttle, like a tiny bit, when you start. Okay, stop. We've got nothing under the car that's upset.
After further investigation, it became clear that this wasn't just a minor setback. The signs kept pointing to something much bigger.
Okay, let's plug it in, see if there's any kind of code that we have.
Is there a code for having sent it too hard? Who would have thought modifying £6,000 V8s would potentially cause an issue? Sorry, especially one built by us. After reading the codes, there was no signs of sensor or electronic faults, which means it was looking more and more like a deep mechanical issue inside the engine itself.
This is an engine, that's a colossal L. He's basically game over for the Jag.
We do our tests semi-close to the unit, so I think what I'll do, I'll walk over and get the trailer.
With our trusty Cayenne coming to the rescue, we weren't sure if the Jag was done for. We had everything crossed, hoping I'd missed something simple. So in a moment of panic, we headed back down to JLR specialist Tom Lenthall, praying for a positive response.
Oh, yeah! Did your job change? That sounds horrendous. You know what he said? He said we changed jump.
A jumped chain is bad news. It connects the crankshaft to the camshaft, ensuring that the engine's valves and pistons move in sync and don't smash into each other. If the chain skips a tooth, it throws off the timing completely, potentially causing the pistons and valves to collide, which can lead to catastrophic engine damage.
Oh, that chain is loose as hell.
Wow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That chain's jumping. Yeah, you've done damage big time there. Oh my word. I don't think reading fault codes is going to solve the issue.
That's actually really quite upsetting.
I'll be very surprised if you've got any compression.
So this is a complete write-off.
It's done. For reference, by the way, engines are about £5 grand, £6 grand. The engine is toast. It's done. Like, it's over.
What are the chances of this car being in the finale episode?
Currently less than 0.